You've probably heard it before. Get your 8 hours of sleep and everything will be fine. Doctors say it. TV ads echo it. Even your smartwatch reminds you. Sleep equals health. But here's something you rarely hear. It's not just about how long you sleep. It's what you're doing right before bed. Because believe it or not, there's a common bedtime habit, something millions of seniors do every night, that may be silently weakening your brain and your legs. Not in months, not in years, but in just weeks, your balance can falter, your memory can slip, and your morning energy can vanish. This isn't fear-mongering, it's fact. A study published in Frontiers in Aging Neuroscience found that one specific nighttime behavior was associated with accelerated cognitive decline in adults over 60. Another study in the Journal of Geriatric Physical Therapy found that this same behavior doubled the risk of leg muscle deterioration and fall-related injuries in older adults. Let me tell you about Ruth. She's 72, still drives, still volunteers, sharp as ever. But within 3 months, she began losing her words. She fell down the stairs. And the only thing that changed, her nighttime routine. What she did, and what you might be doing too, is surprisingly common. And in the next few minutes, I'll walk you through the 7 worst nighttime habits that rob seniors of their strength, stability, and clarity. Stick with me, because the number 1 habit might be the most surprising of all, and it's easier to fix than you think. Now, to be clear, this video is not personal medical advice. These insights are for education only. Always consult a doctor before making changes to your daily habits or routines. But everything we share here is based on real patient cases, real studies, and real risks, especially for those of us over 60. Because you deserve more than just general advice. You deserve clarity, confidence, and control over your health. Before we dive in, let us know in the comments. Do you ever feel foggy, forgetful, or weak in the legs after waking up, even when you think you slept well? Share your experience below. We read and reply to every message. So, let's begin. If you want to protect your brain and legs for the long run, here are the 7 nighttime habits you must stop, starting tonight. Let's start with number 7. 7. Midnight scrolling. The blue light drain on your brain. Picture this. It's 10:45 p.m. You're tucked in. You tell yourself, just 5 more minutes on my phone. But suddenly, it's midnight, and you're still swiping through news, social media, or cat videos. This innocent habit is now so common, we forget it's new. But your brain hasn't adapted, especially the aging brain. Here's the problem. The blue light emitted from phone and tablet screens tells your brain it's daytime. That blocks melatonin, the hormone responsible for deep sleep and brain cleansing. A study published in the journal Sleep Health found that adults over 60 who used screens before bed had 40% less slow-wave sleep, the phase of sleep most critical for memory consolidation and muscle recovery. In other words, your brain misses its nightly cleanup shift. And it's not just about sleep. People who use screens at night also show slower reaction times, weaker leg strength, and more frequent nighttime waking, all of which increase the risk of falls, confusion, and even stroke. One of my patients, Bill, was a sharp retired engineer, but his balance was off and he kept misplacing things. When we looked closer, his Fitbit showed he wasn't getting enough deep sleep. Why? Because every night he was watching financial news on his iPad for just a few minutes. We replaced the screen time with 15 minutes of soft jazz and breathing exercises. 3 weeks later, He was sleeping deeper and remembering names again. What to do instead? Turn off all screens 1 hour before bed. Use a soft amber lamp instead of overhead lights. If you must use a device, wear blue light blocking glasses. Remember, you don't have to ditch the phone entirely. Just retrain your body to sleep like it used to, in the quiet dark. 6. The late-night snack trap. Feeding inflammation while you sleep. You feel a little hungry before bed. What's the harm in grabbing a small snack, right? Well, if that snack is sugary, salty, or processed, it might be silently inflaming your brain tissue and weakening your leg muscles while you sleep. Here's what happens. When you eat late at night, especially heavy or sugary foods, your body diverts energy to digestion. That means less energy for cellular repair, including in your brain and muscles. A 2020 study in nutritional neuroscience showed that seniors who ate processed snacks or refined carbs after 9 p.m. had significantly worse memory scores and weaker grip strength, even with the same total hours of sleep. It gets worse. Late-night snacking can raise your nighttime blood sugar, which can lead to nocturnal inflammation. And that inflammation damages the tiny capillaries that feed your brain and muscle cells. Take Helen, age 68. She thought she was being healthy, having a granola bar and juice before bed. But after months of leg cramps and foggy mornings, she learned the sugar was crashing her melatonin and creating silent inflammation. We switched her to a small handful of almonds and half a banana instead. Her energy? Back. Her legs? Stronger. Her thinking? Sharper. What to do instead? Stop eating 2 to 3 hours before bed. If you need a snack, choose something light, like a boiled egg or plain Greek yogurt. Avoid sugar, refined grains, and packaged snacks completely at night. Let your body focus on healing, not digesting. 5. Evening news anxiety. The silent saboteur of sleep and stability. It sounds harmless enough. You sit in your favorite chair, sip some tea, and turn on the evening news before bed. You want to stay informed, especially in today's world. But here's what most seniors don't realize. That 30 minutes of nightly news might be training your brain for fear, not rest. Modern news programs aren't just about facts anymore. They're designed for emotional impact. Urgent music, flashing headlines, dramatic voices. And what's the result? A constant state of low-grade stress, especially in older adults whose nervous systems are more sensitive to stimulation after dark. A study from the Journal of Gerontology found that older adults exposed to stressful media before bed showed 40% more nighttime waking, 30% more muscle tension, and significantly poorer working memory the next morning. Why does this happen? It all comes down to cortisol, your body's main stress hormone. When cortisol rises at night, it disrupts sleep, slows muscle repair, and shrinks the hippocampus, your memory center of your brain. One patient, Henry, was 75. Sharp, independent, but increasingly anxious and tired. He blamed his age until we reviewed his nightly routine. CNN at 9, local crime reports at 10, then bed. He switched to reading historical fiction and playing soft harp music instead. Within 2 weeks, his sleep improved and his blood pressure dropped. What to do instead? Avoid news broadcasts, true crime, or political talk after 7 p.m. If you want to wind down, try listening to calming nature sounds or reading something gentle. Focus your last hour on peace, not problems. Your brain can't rest in a storm, even if the storm is coming from a TV screen. 4. Lying too still, when stillness starves your legs. Here's one you likely haven't heard before. Seniors are often told to rest their legs before bed. But if that rest means sitting or lying completely still for hours on end, you could be starving your leg muscles and confusing your brain. Muscles, especially in older adults, rely on gentle movement to maintain circulation. When you sit too long, blood flow slows. When you lie down too early without any pre-sleep movement, your neuromuscular connections weaken. That means your brain loses its map of how to control balance and gait. A study in the Journals of Gerontology followed 1,200 older adults who were mostly sedentary in the evenings. Within 18 months, they showed increased risk of nighttime leg cramps, weaker lower limb strength, and greater incidence of falls after midnight trips to the bathroom. Sound familiar? Let's look at Susan. She's 70, fit and active in the morning, but by 8 p.m., she'd sit in her recliner and barely move until bedtime. She began waking up dizzy. Her knees felt weak when she stood. Her doctor thought it was vertigo, but it was actually blood pooling in her lower limbs from too much stillness. We added just 5 minutes of light stretching and chair yoga before bed. Her circulation improved. She stopped feeling dizzy, and her legs felt stronger again without medication. What to do instead? Avoid sitting more than 45 minutes straight in the evening. Do 5 to 10 minutes of gentle movement before bed, leg swings, ankle rolls, or light walking around the house. Use compression socks if you're dealing with swelling. Stillness is not always rest, especially after 60. Your brain and your legs both need gentle motion to stay connected. Sleeping with the lights on. How nighttime light hijacks brain repair. This one might surprise you because it seems like a small thing, but for your aging brain and body, it can be devastating. Sleeping with the lights on. Whether it's a bedside lamp, hallway light, or even the TV glow, that ambient light is quietly interfering with your brain's ability to heal, process, and restore itself overnight. Let's break this down. Your brain has something called a circadian rhythm, an internal clock that tells every cell when to repair, release hormones, and rest. But this rhythm depends on darkness, true, uninterrupted darkness. A landmark study in Chronobiology International found that adults over 60 who slept with a light source in their room, even a small one, had 52% higher risk of cognitive impairment, 74% higher risk of type 2 diabetes, and more than double the risk of nighttime falls. Why? Because even through closed eyelids, your body senses light. It suppresses melatonin, the master hormone for brain detox and muscle recovery. In short, your body thinks it's still daytime, so it delays healing. Let me tell you about James. He was 69. He kept a small lamp on in the bathroom to see better if he woke up, but he started forgetting appointments and his legs felt stiff every morning. We convinced him to try sleeping in full darkness for just 2 weeks. The difference? Sharper mornings, smoother walking, fewer trips to the bathroom. What to do instead? Use motion sensor night lights that stay off unless triggered. Switch to red or amber night lights. They don't suppress melatonin. Avoid sleeping with the TV on. It emits both blue light and sound disturbances. Invest in blackout curtains if outside light leaks in. Remember, your brain cleans itself at night, but only when it knows it's night. 2. The silent dehydrator. When you don't drink enough, then pay the price in your sleep.
Many seniors do this with good intentions. You stop drinking water after 7 p.m. because you don't want to wake up to use the bathroom at night. It makes sense, but over time, this habit can quietly dehydrate you, especially overnight. And that mild dehydration is one of the most overlooked causes of nighttime leg cramps, morning dizziness, brain fog, and even increased fall risk during midnight bathroom trips. Your muscles and brain are 75% water. At night, while your body repairs tissues and consolidates memory, it also flushes toxins through lymph and spinal fluid. Without enough water, that detox slows down. Tissues dry out. Blood thickens. And your brain wakes up feeling like it hasn't rested at all. In a study published in Nutrition Reviews, researchers found that older adults who went to bed dehydrated performed 30% worse on balance tests the next morning and had more trouble recalling simple information. Let's go back to Ruth, the woman from our opening. Her decline seemed sudden. She fell. She forgot things. Turns out she had been limiting water after dinner out of habit. Her labs showed she was mildly dehydrated almost every night. We introduced smart hydration, more water during the day, herbal teas in the evening, a small sip of water right before bed, just enough. Within a week, her dizziness improved, her memory rebounded, and she started sleeping through the night. What to do instead? Drink plenty of water before 6 p.m. Aim for at least 6 to 8 glasses total per day. In the evening, sip herbal teas like chamomile or lemon balm. Add electrolytes like a pinch of Himalayan salt or magnesium in small doses if cramping is an issue. Avoid caffeine, alcohol, and overly salty snacks after 6 p.m. Don't fear nighttime hydration. Fear chronic, hidden dehydration that starves your brain and legs from the inside out.
Falling asleep in front of the TV, the comfort habit that destroys brain plasticity. You've had a long day. Dinner's done, dishes are clean. You settle into the couch, remote in hand, and turn on your favorite show. You feel relaxed, comforted, safe. But somewhere between the second commercial and the closing credits, your eyes shut. You drift off. No big deal, right? Actually, it's one of the worst things you can do for your aging brain and body. Let's talk about the TV nap, that accidental doze-off in front of the screen before bed. Many seniors do it. It feels natural, like the body winding down. But what it actually does is disrupt your brain's architecture and cripple your deep sleep cycle. Here's why. When you fall asleep in front of the TV, your brain enters a light, fragmented sleep. This state is full of micro-awakenings, tiny disturbances you don't even remember. Your body thinks it's kind of awake, but your nervous system never fully relaxes. So by the time you wake up and move to bed, your body's already confused. It loses the signal that tells it now it's time for real sleep. And instead of transitioning into deep, restorative rest, you end up tossing, turning, or waking up after just a few hours. A 2022 study published in Sleep Medicine found that adults over 65 who fell asleep in front of the television at least 3 nights a week had 55% less slow-wave sleep, took longer to fall asleep once in bed, and were twice as likely to wake up feeling disoriented or unsteady. In short, TV naps lead to lower quality sleep, which leads to lower quality mornings. But it doesn't stop there. Your brain plasticity, the brain's ability to repair, rewire, and retain memory, happens most during uninterrupted stage 3 sleep. TV light, background noise, and irregular sleep onset rob you of this stage. And over time, your brain becomes less resilient, less sharp, and less adaptable. Let's go back to Bill, the retired engineer we talked about earlier. He had sharp memory for decades, until it started slipping. At first, he blamed age, but his wife noticed something. He was falling asleep to crime dramas every night, sometimes for hours. And even though he went to bed afterward, he'd wake up groggy, grumpy, and off balance. We made one simple change: no more TV past 9 p.m. Instead, he set a timer for reading with soft music in the background. He trained his body to fall asleep in bed, not on the couch. Within 3 weeks, everything shifted. Sharper thinking, deeper sleep, steadier steps. What to do instead? Create a dedicated wind-down routine: reading, journaling, or stretching. Set a TV off alarm around 8:30 or 9 p.m. Dim the lights, lower the temperature, and signal your body it's time to sleep. If you're tired, go to bed. Don't wait for the end of the show. It might feel small, but changing where and how you fall asleep could add years of clarity, strength, and independence to your life. Now, I want to hear from you. Which of these habits surprised you the most? Have you accidentally fallen asleep in front of the TV or struggled with restless legs at night? Tell your story in the comments below. We read and reply to every single one. And if this video helped you understand your body a little better, share it with a friend, a spouse, or even your doctor. Because every senior deserves to sleep deeply, wake strong, and live fully, one healthy night at a time. Thanks for watching. And don't forget to subscribe for more calm, science-backed health advice. Right here, with me, your trusted guide to aging powerfully.